What is going on? Brian Carroll here, PowerXStrength.com HQ. Today, I'm bringing you a interview that I did with Naomi Sheppard almost 1 year ago. This interview took place at SWIS 2023 in Columbus, Ohio. At this point, I've been working with Naomi for about 4 to 7 months. Now, I say 4 to 7 months because initially we did a consult virtually, but I didn't see her in person till June. And so that was only about 5 months afterward, or 4 months after doing the full assessment. Would you believe it if I told you that no one had ever given Naomi a full assessment before? No one understood what caused her pain, what made her feel better. No one told her to take time off from lifting, what her mechanisms of injury were. So we had to go through that. And if you want to check out that series, check it out below. We'll link it below. And it's the assessment with Naomi Sheppard. And we go through all those things and do some lifting as well. Naomi had a nasty Schmorl's node fracture and multiple disc bulges that have been plaguing her for about 3 years. One time she actually ended up in the ER, flat on her stomach, because she blew her back out deadlifting and had to go to the ER to get a Medrol pack and just do anything she could because she was in such pain. Her word was agony. Some people are a 10 out of 10 when it comes to pain, and they'll do anything to get out of pain. We did the full assessment. Here we are in October at SWIS. She had just put the bar on her back for the first time, squatting 135 for some repetitions. And after SWIS, she ended up working up over the next couple of months to about 400 pounds on the squat pain-free. She also worked up to 275 on the bench press for repetitions. And as we finished up the year, she started deadlifting from blocks. She's now doing her own programming and has been for a few months, and successfully made it through a powerlifting meet a couple of months back. I wish Naomi the very best of success, and I've encouraged her to allow that Schmorl's node to heal and those discs to remodel over the next couple of years, because it isn't gonna be one of the circumstances of pain-free equals healed. Wish Naomi the best. Enjoy this conversation about Naomi's unique injury history, her climb to the top and hitting a 578-pound squat at 148, which was the world record. It may be at this time still. And then all the things she's done to become a world champion. Enjoy this conversation, and thank you so much. What's going on? Brian Carroll here with my good friend and client, Naomi Sheppard, owner at 148 of the world record squat of 577. You know, I was talking with Ed Cohen at breakfast this morning, and I said, I remember when, actually he goes, I remember when 4 times body weight was what the men needed to win in nationals. So if they could pull in a high five at 148 and squat in a high five, they had a good chance of winning. That's back when the divisions were stacked, everyone lifted in one,
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, well, so it's all the more impressive that you were able to accomplish that, and we're looking to do more.
Yeah.
But we're going to take about 10 minutes, and we're going to just have a random discussion. And we're going to talk about, number one, we're here at SWIS weekend. We're having a good time. Naomi was my demo yesterday, and she had the bar on her back.
For the first time in months.
Months and months, and she's pain and symptom free today. That's great. We still have some rebuilding to do and such. So I'm going to ask Naomi a couple questions, and we're going to have a discussion. And we hope you guys enjoy it. So first of all, how did you get into powerlifting?
So I think I've spoken a little bit about this before in other podcasts, like the Elite FTS one. But when I was a teenager, like ages of 11 to 16, I had something called Sever's disease. So like when I was growing, I had my biggest growth spurts. It affected the growth in my feet. And long story short, but basically I would end up with broken heel bones almost constantly. So they would break. It started off with fracturing, but because it was a misdiagnosis and it's genetic, but it's very, very rare in girls, like it was generally not seen. So like my older brothers had kind of had it very mild, but so I was complaining about, having sore feet all the time, and it was just kind of overlooked, and not by my parents, but by doctors.
Common theme.
Yeah, so I guess this happened to me on multiple occasions at this point. But I basically I carried on and to the point where the fractures turned into breaks. And then from that point, they would always break again and again in the same place as I was growing. So Like the ages of 11 to 16, I spent most of the time with both my legs in plaster from knee down. You know, by the time I kind of had stopped growing around the age of 16, I remember the last time I had my last plasters took off, and like, you know, my legs just didn't look like mine because they were so thin from the knee down, had like no muscle on them. Yeah, because I hadn't really used them, and so, you know, I missed out on basically any activity in sport at that age. So by the time I went to university, at the age of 18, I was thinking like, oh God, like, you know, my heel bones broke so much. Is this going to cause me a problem as I get older? You know, and seeing a couple of my uncles struggle to walk up and down stairs because of they'd had it severely as children. And I was like, I don't want that to become a problem for me. So I started doing a lot of research, you know, myself about like, how could I improve the density of my bones, especially my heels. And I came across lifting, you know, but compound movements. So loading the bone from end to end can actually help increase your bone density. So obviously that's like a, you know, more well-known fact now, but this was, you know, like, how old am I now? 32. So this is like 14 years ago. And, you know, women weren't really in the weights room for starters at that point. So, you know, I kind of went in, I started off doing strong lifts, which is like one of the free 5x5, you know, starter up programs, and just kind of started it off on my own. And, you know, I tried out for several sports whilst I was at university and just was terrible at everything because I hadn't really done anything. You know, like I totally missed out. So this was something I could do myself, and there was no, you know, it wasn't a team sport, but, you know, I did eventually pick up some team sports from getting strong. Like I did rugby a little bit later on in my university years, and, but yeah, like I started it for that, but like I picked it up and was good pretty quickly. Just really enjoyed it. And I used, you know, the fact that you could, like, in the gym, you know, you see progress so easily. It's so obvious. You see it in the numbers that you're moving. And you get that from the time and effort put in. And I liked that I could apply that to almost everything else in life. So like, not only did I get like good physical work, but I was like improving my feet, and my bone density, but I was also kind of learning good lessons that I could use in other aspects of my life. So I've just loved lifting since that point. And, you know, I went on to start competing a few years later. So yeah, like, fun story. But
Were you ever worried about your feet when you started lifting over 300 pounds squatting?
you know what? I didn't really think about it until I kind of really started suffering with my back. And it did make me think, like, could this be why? Because like my feet have, you know, they don't have much of an arch. I do a lot of footwork and have over the years, you know, like using towel grabbing, and like, you know, it's never seemed to improve them to a point where most people's feet are, I guess. They are better than they were, but I mean, it probably is the root cause of why I've had these issues in my back, really. Like, but there's, you know, I did the best I could with the knowledge I had at the time. So yeah, like, possibly, but I don't think I'm ever going to actually find the definitive answer to that. But, you know, you just deal with what you've got in front of you at the time and go from there. So.
Speaking of in front of you right now at the time, we're dealing with a vertebral fracture that you have, and you know, the common theme with the foot issues that you had as a teenager, it kind of replicated itself when you went to the ER and hurt your back, and you've been let down quite a bit by the system.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people do, and the only advice I could really, you know, give to other people is to really self-advocate for yourself. You know your body the best, better than anyone else ever will. So, you know, if you feel and know something's wrong, you just really have to push. And, you know, I can't really speak in terms of specifics for the medical industry itself because it's different. You know, I'm from the UK. It's different in every country. But just push and advocate for yourself.
Different levels of shitty.
I guess you could say that. But, you know, it is what
does Dave Tate say? Shit, suck. What is these? What's the cascade? Shit, suck good, or something like that. You know, he always comes up with these little terms and puts them on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
We need to ask him that later.
I will ask him that later.
But yeah, I think it is what it is, but you just have to find the people that you know that you can help you. So like, you know, we're working together now. It's been like completely game changing for me. And I think, you know, the fact that you have a complete understanding of like what my passions are, like we have the same passions, has been huge. Obviously my main goal is to just get my body back to a good physical state. And hopefully then once I do that, then, you know, look at going back into competing if I'm ready. So
how much longer do you want to compete? If you could have your cake and eat it too, but also it's got to be rational.
Like for me, like I'm already 32. I actually would like to have the option to have children one day. So I'm already have time pressure of that.
You're just going to end up having twins if you keep waiting.
But, well, you know, it's a difficult question to answer. And I feel like this is something a lot of women don't talk about, especially in sports. Like you have that pressure, but I also know that I'm not done.
You know that in your heart, in your mind.
Yeah, like I was at my peak last year, and I knew even at that point that there is more here, and I just haven't done that yet. So I don't feel like I could step away.
Am I correct when I say that you left some pounds on the platform because you had a technical error on the bench or something silly?
Oh, I mean, you know, anyone could say that, right? Like, no one has the perfect day.
But that mean particular where you won, right?
At that point, like, Andrew was traveling back and forth from the UK to the US to compete. Like, that's took its toll on my body. Being over in the States now and being able to compete over here is, I think, going to be quite a big thing and a big change. And, like, being in a bit of a different training environment that's going to push me. You know, I'm around more people that feel the same way about the sport as I do. So I think that's going to be a huge benefit, and I've never really had that before. So, so from that standpoint, there's definitely more. But like, it's hard to describe. You know, when you go up and you do like certain lifts, and like you feel a certain way about it. And like, I lifted a little bit more in the gym before that competition, anyway. But you know, usually I'd lift my most on platform. But for that competition, although it was very successful, like I know there's more there. So, you know, I'm already pushing my absolute physical max, but like, you know how that feels when you're like, there's definitely a little bit more there. So like, I want to know that like I've done my best, but maybe you never feel like that.
I don't think you'll truly feel completely satisfied with
like,
what you could do versus what you do.
If the option's not there for me to go back, like it would feel like just a big disappointment. You know, I would find other things to do because, you know, I'm always going to lift in some capacity because I absolutely love it. And I would find a different way to push myself. But like, powerlifting is like my real passion. Like,
two more questions.
Yeah.
The next question is, are you scared? Are you scared? Not talking about your injury, but it runs in the same vein. When you walk up to the bar and you're taking the most by someone ever under 150 pounds, you're not scared?
No, because...
What goes through your mind when you go to the bar?
I mean, I've visualized doing it successfully so many times before. Like, I mean, you know, everybody says the same things. Like, I go check out the venue before I do it. Like, I visualize actually doing it. I generally never make bigger jumps than what I've done in the gym anyway, so I'm not, like, going up there generally attempting something I've never put on my back on the platform. Like, I train pretty close to what I plan on doing in the competition. So and you know, when you, especially with squat, like, you know, when you get under that weight and pick it up, whether it's going to be successful or not before you do it.
Yeah, you know if you have it.
So like, if I'm in the gym and I pick it up and it doesn't feel good, I don't attempt it. I put it back in and, you know, go away, think about it, try it again. If it doesn't feel good, I just don't do it that day.
So aside the back injury, when you've powerlifted for the last couple of years, is it stimulating for you, or does it rob from your life? Because towards the end of my lifting, it started robbing too much from my happiness in my life. And that's when I had to, and there's, of course, there's drugs involved with that. There's just the time constraints and all the pressure and all that stuff. But do you find that it contributes more happiness to your life, or does it take away?
The pain didn't. The pain and the physical position I was in the last couple of years, although I was successful on the outside, I was like in my quality of life outside of the sport, my lifestyle was deteriorating. That wasn't because of powerlifting, that was because of my physical state and the pain I was in. But like, there's a reason why I was still doing it, because I love it so much and I get so much from the sport, but there was no balance. But I know I can have a bit of a better balance. But, you know, when you said, like, how much longer do you want to do it for? Like, I'm not, you know, I'm always going to powerlift, but competing at this level, I'm not.
The tip of the top of the spear.
Just because, you know, I think there's slightly different pressures for women if they want to have children. Like, you have to think about age. So for me, that's going to be where, you know, I'm going to get to a certain point, and that will be the reason why I take a step back.
Last question is, so what's the goal? You back to powerlifting? What do you want? What's your walkaway numbers, if it's possible? If
you'd asked me this last year, it probably would be slightly different answer. Like, I'm not so attached to specific numbers anymore, if that makes sense. I don't know if this happened to you when you went through, you know, your year of, like, not doing as much, but like last year, if you asked me, like, 300 kilo squat, which is like 661, yeah, that was like my ultimate, like, squat.
Monster squat.
Yes, but in the gym, I'd done like 275, which is like just over 600 pounds, and I've doubled it. So,
whoa,
like, I know that it's within reach. And I think for me, like, that was something I wanted to reach for, because I think there's only a couple of women that have ever done it, and especially raw. So, like,
that's a big asterisk there.
Yeah. But now I'm not so attached. I just want to get back on platform and do better than I did.
And you want to have that feeling.
That sounds really like, but like, if I, you know, I wouldn't be upset if I never squatted 300. Like, I feel like we all attach numbers because it's good to have something to aim for, but yeah, like, I think the thing that if I had to give myself a goal, like, I'm ranked 4th in my weight category of all time. I'm number 1 currently competing, but I want to be number 1 of all time.
Okay.
So
that's the goal.
If I was going to give myself one goal, that would be what it would be.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do everything I can to help you. It's great sitting down with you. Thanks for spending some time with me. Okay. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Remember, like, subscribe, share, click the notifications, because we drop videos twice a week. We also have a live stream every Friday where I answer your questions. Click below to see the latest video that we uploaded. Also, for our products, our CBD, our books that correspond with these videos, it's down in the description. For more information about all things Brian Carroll and PowerX Strength, go to powerxstrength.com. You can book a consult both virtually and in person with me. Enjoy your week, and thank you so much.